Many of us know that diabetes is a serious illness that is on the rise in America, that it can be life-threatening, and that there are two kinds of diabetes. But that's pretty much it. I know I didn't know a lot more about it until I met Tamar Sofer-Geri. 7 years ago, her world changed irrevocably. She never guessed that her life would become consumed with and dedicated to an unexpected and uninvited new career. This career has included the creation of a non-profit organization for families dealing with type 1 diabetes. It's called CARB-DM, a wordplay meaning Seize Diabetes. It's the only organization of its kind, and it continues to help hundreds of local families. There's obviously a lot of ignorance and confusion around type 1 and type 2 diabetes. What do you most want people to know and understand?
So type 2 diabetes is the one we often hear about a lot in the media. Type 2 diabetes is very genetic, and it's often linked to lifestyle and exercise, being overweight, and it is caused by the body not producing enough insulin or not being able to use the insulin that the body produces in an efficient way. Type 1 diabetes, on the other hand, is a lot less genetic in nature, and it is an autoimmune disease. So it comes on with no apparent reason. There's no known cause for it, and there's no known cure. So your body attacks the cells within the pancreas that produce insulin, so therefore you no longer produce any insulin, therefore you're insulin dependent for life, and you have to get your insulin from the outside, either via syringe or a pump, but you have to take it from the outside for the rest of your life. So yes, my daughter Tia was diagnosed 7 years ago when she was 8 years old, and so we saw some symptoms start in August, and she wasn't diagnosed until January. And it just hits you out of the blue.
What was your reaction?
Shock. There's a lot of learning that has to go with it. Every time your child needs to eat, you have to be able to count the carbs that they're eating, calculate insulin doses, and give an insulin shot. Your child has to eat. You know, within hours of diagnosis, your child is going to be hungry and want to eat. So the learning curve is extremely steep. We all have insulin in our body, and it's a key that opens up the cells and allows the glucose from the food we eat to go into our cells and provide us with the energy we need to function. Both the functions that we all think about, like running and jumping and thinking and doing things, but also the functions that our body does without us thinking about it, like breathing and all the bodily functions that our body does just to operate. So without glucose in our cells, our body is starved and will die, basically. When you have someone with type 1 diabetes and you have to give that insulin from the outside, you have to calculate how much insulin a person needs for the carbs they're eating and try to make that balance. So if they're eating 10 grams of carbs, you need to know how much insulin they need for those carbs. And that insulin to carb ratio can change from meal to meal. Everything affects how much energy we need. Our activities, as well as things like our stress levels, how much sleep we've gotten, how healthy we are, all of those affect how much energy we need and how much insulin we need. It's like we're not smart enough to do what our bodies do on our own, and we weren't ever intended to do that. Now, the tricky thing about insulin is that it's a very potent hormone or drug. Too much insulin could cause a severe low blood sugar reaction, which if left untreated, meaning you don't take sugar for that, could actually kill you. So this is something that all of us parents or loved ones of people with diabetes who are not medical professionals are now dealing with on a daily basis. So overnight we become a doctor, nutritionist, nurse, chemist, all of the above. It's a 24/7, 365 days a year struggle, and it's a marathon, it's not a race.
When you first found out what was going on and you got the diagnosis, your reaction was to reach out. Tell me what form that took and what you discovered.
I needed to meet people face to face and learn from their experience, and we found some activities in some places to meet people, but it just wasn't enough. And when we couldn't find them, we just started creating those opportunities ourselves to meet with people. But we realized that, there's so much people can learn from, more people, that we started creating those opportunities for people to get together. And from that, it just kind of grew organically. And over the course of a year, we realized that we really need to formalize this into a nonprofit organization. And that's what we have today. We have CarbDM, which is a nonprofit organization that offers 90 programs a year and serves 1,600 people in the Bay Area. I always say that anytime two people who have a connection to type 1 diabetes get together, magic happens. There's an understanding that happens between people with type 1 diabetes that you just can't get when there's someone who isn't living with it. There's a compassion and understanding that comes from that shared experience. Parents of children with type 1 diabetes are always exhausted because they're up checking their children at night, because diabetes doesn't rest when the kids go to sleep. You always have to check their blood sugars at night as well. So there's an understanding of the challenges. Kids see other kids with type 1 diabetes checking their blood sugars and counting carbs, and they will show each other their pumps and their continuous glucose monitors, and they show each other where they have their pump sites. Oh, I'm having it on my arm, or I have it on my leg. And we as parents can tell our kids, for months, you should really try to put your pump site on your arm. And they don't hear us, but then they see another boy or girl who's got it on their arm or leg, and they're like, oh, I think I'll try my pump site on my arm. And you're like, really? I've been telling you to do that for months. Hey, Tia, come see, the new low bags arrived. I was never one who was defined by her career, whereas now I am, one and the same as my career. I just work to work, and now I live to work. God forbid I don't wish a chronic illness on anyone, but it has taught me who my friends are. It has taught me what's important in life. It has shown me what an amazing person my daughter is, and it's shown me how compassionate my son is, and what a thoughtful child and brother he is. We always joke that the type 1 community is the best community you never wanted to be a part of. It's totally changed my life, but I cannot imagine my life without the type 1 community.
Do you know someone who has overcome significant hardship and has an inspiring story to tell? Someone who has sacrificed or given over and above to the community and deserves some recognition? If so, please contact us with your nomination for next year's Local Hero Awards. To find out more about our local heroes and to watch interviews with all the winners, visit our website, midpennmedia.org. At the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center, you can make your own videos and television programs and take classes in all aspects of media production. You can also hire our professional services team. To find out more about that, go to mcproservices.com. Congratulations to all our winners, and thank you for watching.